Hello again, world, and today is day 2 of my 8-week challenge to do some writing and recording every day. So here we go. We're going to generate a new random 3 words. Clear the old ones, those were yesterday's. That's 5 words. Thing always defaults back to 5. 3 words. Ask, hook, and thunder. Well, that's going to be an interesting set. Let's see how this goes tonight. The ship trembled as we entered the atmosphere. A fully functioning stabilizer would have allowed me to sleep right through re-entry. Functioning was hardly an adequate description of any of the components on the ship, including its pilots. I avoided all trips surface side unless absolutely necessary. Now here I was, once again, strapped into my chair, wondering if this would be the last descent I ever experienced. I do believe he intends to kill us all, Tat chattered over the intercom, critiquing Tit's piloting. Oh, ha ha, Tit retorted. It's not my fault the human can't afford to properly maintain our vessel. Maybe if you weren't constantly blowing our funds on interstellar gambling. I would never, Tat spat back, and their back and forth rumbled on along with the ship. Tit and Tat are the ship's AI units. A pair probably designed more as a practical joke than intended for serious navigational use. Their particularly colorful personalities kept most buyers at bay and dropped their price to about that of a single unit. My father always said that 2 AIs were better than 1. They could cover and second guess each other. You are 5 degrees from the descent course we agreed upon, Tat spat mid-argument. I am not. Tit paused mid-response before sheepishly adding, adjusting trajectory by 5%. The ship burst through the thin cloud layers and eased into a smooth glide. Below, the ocean world of Awah glimmered in the light of the sun. The planet was almost entirely underwater. Small islands, no more than a couple of kilometers across, dotted the watery surface, and most of those were only above water during low tides. There is a single research settlement on the main island on the other side of the planet, but for the most part, Awa is uninhabited. Occasionally, it would be a popular mass vacation location, particularly in roving fleets where passing nearby. That was how I first visited this world, growing up on a generation ship that passed near enough to the system to permit a few weeks' visit surface side. But it had been 100 years since any real visitors had come to Oahu. Releasing myself from the harness, I began to prepare for the mission. So what kind of shady backwater figure are we meeting here that will inevitably stab us in the back and leave us penniless? Tat's question might have been funny if it wasn't so true. No one, I told him. The mission is my own making. Unless you're planning to stab me in the back, we've got nothing to worry about. Well, I won't deny that I have considered it, Tat eagerly explained. Your business partners make it look so easy, and it's always worked so well for them. So why shouldn't I give it a try? It's okay, Tat. You don't have to say it. I pulled a long, thick cable from the storage chest and began to wind it into a pulley. Tit, can you bring us down to about 20 feet above the water and hover us there? Then open the hatch. I don't have to say what, Tat asked as Tit silently completed the request. I know our friendship means too much to you to ever betray me. I moved a large bucket and cooler from the fridge into the cargo area as the back of the hatch slowly lowered. Friendship, Tat replied in disgust. It is times like this that is clear how truly appalling it is that my Creator did not see fit to grant me a vomit function. A grin stretched across my face as Tat continued to babble on. The idea of friendship with humans always seemed to set him off on a bit of a rant. "I can't figure it out," Tit chimed in. "What exactly are you doing with all of this stuff?" I was fastening a cable to the end of a large hook. "I thought all you AI types were supposed to be superhumanly intelligent. You can't figure out what a man's doing on an ocean planet with a giant hook?" There was blissful silence for what must have been a solid 6 seconds, which may have been a record. Then, in unison, came the reply. Nope. Neither of them had put the pieces together. With a sigh, I pulled from the bucket a large grub, roughly the size of my head. "This is my own fault, really. I've sheltered the two of you, kept you from living a real life." I forced the grub onto one of the 3 hooks tethered to the cable. It squirted a green ooze and continued to squirm. I proceeded to attach additional grubs to the other hooks. My father used to say that after populating 3,000 planets, defeating death, and outpacing light itself, only one thing stayed truly constant to the human experience. With all 3 grubs securely in place and my hands covered in ooze, I lifted the hook, walked over to the edge, and tossed it into the ocean. Fishing! The cable uncoiled as it descended into the water. I grabbed a cloth and wiped the ooze from my hands before grabbing a beer and sitting at the edge of the ramp to enjoy the sea breeze. Somewhere in the distance, 2 AI were bickering away at each other, risking overheating in frustration at the reckless endangerment of our livelihood for a hobby, and blah. They faded into the background, and all I could hear was the wind. At the time, none of us had noticed the thunderstorm building on the horizon, nor the hot red glow at the center of its clouds. Several hours went by, and we caught a number of large fish, creatures bigger than my body, though only slightly. "And what if it pulls the ship underwater?" Tit asked when I informed him that I would be using these fish as bait to hopefully catch something much bigger. "You think that's likely?" I challenged. "It's possible." He dodged the question, but Tat was not about to miss the opportunity. "There are maybe 3 species in all of these oceans that are known with the capacity to drag this ship underwater. None of which eat the bait that we are using, so the only way they could drag us underwater would be by accident, which has a likeliness of about 0.000000000000001%. Your maker is a poo, Tat." "My maker is your maker, dummy." And just like that they rolled into another round of insults. It was then that I first heard the thunder. "What is that? Why didn't either of you tell me about incoming weather?" Blue lightning streaked across black and red clouds, followed by a crackling thunder. But there was something more, something mechanical. "What weather?" Tit asked, and Tat followed up. "Hardly a cloud in the sky." "Are you seriously not seeing what I'm seeing?" I demanded, struck by the scale of the storm. A dark patch at its core bore down into the ocean's water, and all the waves seemed to flow in that direction. "Of course we don't see what you see. Why would we limit ourselves to your primitive visibility restrictions when we have much more sophisticated options?" Tit toggled his sensors to the visible camera on the hull of the ship and immediately saw what was missing. "Well then, that's a neat trick." Tat had also seen from the visible spectrum at that point. "How the hell do you hide a storm from the radar and LiDAR, and hell, Heat detection should have picked up that. The water below was picking up speed in flowing toward the storm, and the wind had also picked up in that direction. Reel up the hook. We're getting out of here, I said, moving back to the cargo bay and securing the supplies. As soon as the hook was in, the hatch closed. I strapped into my seat. But what do you suppose it is? Tat asked, pressing the question. Tip began to navigate us away from the planet, and Tat's real priorities became known. Ah! It is my turn to fly. You got to bring us down here. Fine. Tip relinquished controls. I don't care who flies, just get us out of here. For a brief moment it seemed we might not be able to ascend against whatever force was pulling things towards the storm. But we did. And as we ascended, we could see the red and black clouds reached all the way up into space. Or perhaps, more likely, had descended from space onto the planet. What the hell is that? We didn't stick around to find out. We beamed details of the encounter out to anyone that was listening and jumped systems immediately. Curiosity was not going to kill this cat.